I had a customer that lived probably an hour, maybe a little more from this pivot, and it was an older pivot. Had some mechanical problems, and he would turn it on and leave for the night and go home, and then he would get back the next morning. And in irrigation, when it's 110 degrees outside in the middle of August, you don't have an extra day or half a day. You've got to keep these things running all the time.
Right.
And so he would get home an hour drive and worry all night and not sleep very well, wondering if his pivot was on or if it had shut off. The next morning when he pulled back up, he would see it either running or shut off. Sometimes it had shut off 5 minutes after he pulled away. And so we installed this on there. Number one, the savings from just diesel, from driving back and forth every day.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That paid for this device and the subscription very shortly. But the peace of mind that if it did shut off, number one, he could turn it back on. And then if he couldn't turn it back on for whatever reason, he knew that it wasn't running and he had to go back to that field or call a neighbor and say, could you run over and check this? Just the peace of mind was huge for him.
SupplyWise Podcast.
Hello and welcome to SupplyWise, the what and why for residential, commercial, and industrial building supply. I'm your host, Andrew Stevens of Mountain Land Supply, and today we're talking with Brendan Rowley, Agricultural Irrigation Director. How's it going?
Great. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back. We had you on a couple weeks ago talk about center pivot irrigation and the savings that you can have from that. And then we've the time savings, and especially the cash money savings.
Sure.
And so we're here to talk a little bit today about something else that's going to help save you a lot of time and help with some convenience, the AgSense app. So that's AgSense, correct?
Yes.
All right. So this allows you to control center pivots in your irrigation through one app on your phone or on your computer, correct?
Yeah, there's two pieces to this. There's the hardware piece that sits at the pivot, and there's the software piece that sits on your phone or on the internet, and you can log in there and see your pivot, see what it's doing, and change almost anything.
Mm-hmm. So what kinds of things can you control with this app?
So center pivots are what you think of when you talk about AgSense, because that's what everybody does. But it also, it's endless, the possibilities. We put moisture sensors that we put in the soil that tell what the moisture is doing. We put pressure sensors on pipelines to tell the pressure. We put sensors on power. We can turn power off and on, tell the voltage, the amp draw. We can speed variable frequency drives up, slow them down. For pumps, we can monitor water levels in ponds and reservoirs and wells. There's really limitless. Anything that you need to do, you can do. Weather stations, we put weather stations on these so they can watch what the weather is at their pivot, even though they live, 20 miles away or farther.
That's awesome. It kind of gives you all kinds of control over what you're working on and what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
It allows you to just keep a nice focus on it. So, so why use this app instead of maybe the panel that is usually with center pivot irrigation?
Sure. You can still use the panel, but it's so convenient. Just one story quick. I had a customer that lived probably an hour, maybe a little more from this pivot, and it was an older pivot. Had some mechanical problems, and he would turn it on and leave for the night and go home. And then he would get back the next morning. And in irrigation, when it's 110 degrees outside in the middle of August, you don't have an extra day or half a day. You've got to keep these things running all the time.
Right.
And so he would get home an hour drive and worry all night and not sleep very well, wondering if his pivot was on or if it had shut off. The next morning when he pulled back up, he would see it either running or shut off. Sometimes it had shut off 5 minutes after he pulled away. And so we installed this on there. Number one, the savings from just diesel, from driving back and forth every day.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That paid for this this device and the subscription very shortly. But the peace of mind that if it did shut off, number one, he could turn it back on, and then if he couldn't turn it back on for whatever reason, he knew that it wasn't running, and he had to go back to that field or call a neighbor and say, "Could you run over and check this?" Just the peace of mind was huge for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And mention the diesel savings and all that kind of stuff, and then the time savings, and just being able to know, you can sit there and be, you get home after an hour's drive and it's already off or something like that,
Sure.
And that way you're able to manage those problems before they become huge problems.
Yeah, the other big part of that is the reporting with this. There are all kinds of reports. You can punch into the website and pull up how much water you've used for the year, how much electricity, how much this has ran. A lot of these guys are on strict water requirements. They're metered, and so they have to be able to show at the end of the year what they used. And so it makes the reporting easy for that.
Awesome. So as a recording, there's another app that's coming up. As a recording, it's not out yet, but by the time this is posted, it may have already come out. But it is something that's going to integrate with AgSense, which is Valley 365. So this is an app that's going to include, we were talking before we started recording, AgSense kind of works on the control aspect of your controlling your center pivots and all your equipment and stuff. But Valley 365 brings in two more aspects that will help farmers kind of manage their workload a lot better. What are those other two?
Yes, so there's three components to Valley 365. We've talked about the equipment, the monitoring and the controlling of the equipment. There's two more. Environment is one, so knowing what's going on where your crops are, weather stations, soil monitoring. So we monitor that. And then the third side is the agronomy, which is where the analysis comes into play, whether it's an agronomist or a computer. I think the future of this is going into the artificial intelligence where the computer has algorithms that tell you when to water and what's best for the crop, and it just does it. Not there yet, but that's where this is going. But agronomy to determine from the data that you're getting what we need to do next to grow better crops and to make more money ultimately.
Right. Yeah, and it gives you statistics and all that kind of stuff to help you figure out, I need to water here more and here less, or kind of help you project and predict what might be coming up in the future. For
sure. Yeah, it's a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach to farming. Typically, farmers say a hay crop. The crop, if they get too much water, it starts to turn yellow, the leaves. Well, at that point, it's already got too much water. It's stunted its growth, possibly even damaged the crop. If it doesn't get enough water, then the crop starts to wilt, and at that point it's too late. I mean, you can still save the crop somewhat, but you've lost some of your major production time due to that. So we're going to be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like real being able to maximize your yield every year as opposed to hoping that you maximize your taking more control over your own
precision
field.
Irrigation is what we like to call it.
That's awesome. I like that precision irrigation. That's pretty cool. Being able to know what you're going to grow. This is all about kind of taking back control. There's so much in farming that is left up to environment and all that kind of stuff. This is taking back control so you can have a better idea of what you're going to be getting.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty great. And like you said, time savings, money savings, you can put all that back into your farms and everything. So it seems like a really valuable tool for farmers.
It really is. Helps them on that bottom dollar and actually to have a little better quality of life too, rather than that guy driving back and forth to his pivot. He gets to go to his kid's baseball game or take his wife on that date that he hasn't done in 20 years, Yeah,
exactly.
Score some points there.
There you go. Maybe, maybe be home in time for dinner for once instead of reheating in the microwave or whatever.
And not worrying the whole time.
Exactly. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us.
No problem.
Like I said, Valley 365, as of our recording, is not out. They're looking for a March release date.
They're hoping for March.
So if this podcast, I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out, but if this is post-March, make sure you check in with your Mountain Land rep to see how the app is going and making sure that they can help you get that integrated into your farm as quickly as possible. Because it sounds, by all accounts, like it's going to be pretty great. So
awesome.
Check with your Mountain Land rep. You can find other products like this at mountainlandsupply.com. You can find this podcast at mountainlandsupply.com/SupplyWise or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Check out the video form of this podcast at youtube.com/mountainlandsupply. And be sure to check in each week to find out more about the products and services that make you SupplyWise.